Last time we made this fabulous pumpkin build. However, this time we are going to be working on something different. Welcome back to the SVoided channel, and this is day 2 of our Halloween builds. We are back on the wheel to pick up build for day 2, so let's spin the wheel and see what we get. The wheel is spinning, and we are gonna get today, the Haunted Graveyard. Haunted Graveyard. I think I've actually got an idea for this one. Let's roll into that time lapse and part 1. So for part 1 of this build, we are starting with the terraining again, like we did last time. However, this time, instead of going straight into stone, we are using sand, because I've actually found that sand makes a more natural terraining with less smoothing, because it can fall down as affected by gravity. So it just looks a lot nicer, and we're trying to blend some of it into landscape as by placing it and smoothing it. We've actually added some grass in, because I haven't quite learned how to do the masking yet. And then we go around the back, try and incorporate that a little bit more, thicken that up a little bit around the back, and then we go into doing, well, turning all the sand into stone, which we do right there. And as you can see that I try putting in some grey side and terracotta into the stone to make it a little more natural. However, it doesn't really work because I can't mask properly, so we just go paint on top of it, and then we go around the back and we try and incorporate the land into the landscape, make it look a little bit more natural rather than just like it's plonked on top. We want to try and blend it all in. We go around and do that, and then I finally learn what the mask command is in just a second, as you will see, and I just place some splodges of the cyan terracotta all around, because I finally learned how to mask the stone so it's not affecting the air as well. And as you can see, we're just going around and connecting all of the grass and stone together, and just making it look more natural as we go around, as you can see, just all the way around. And I think this training turned out decently. I'm still learning, so in the next video hopefully I can do more terrain. And then we just finally end with placing some mangrove trees all over the area. Some of them will be removed, and there we have it. Now we go on to part 2. So now we go on to building the crypt, and I start by trying to put in a fence line, and I realise it doesn't look very good, so I decided to remove that, and we'll come back to that later. But we get into the crypt and we need to remove some of the mangrove trees I've already placed down, and I turn up tick speed to get rid of the leaves because I forgot commands existed, and all the vines go everywhere and it looks super ugly. You can also see me there experimenting with some gravestone designs, which we'll come back to later as well. But yeah, we are removing the mangrove trees, and then what we go and do is we go and add in some terrain to build the crypt on top of, because we want it to be a little bit higher up. So we're building in the terrain, and then what we're going to do is we're going to start designing the crypt. I just googled images of crypts, and this is just inspired by one of those. So we're building up the walls, trying to design the floor, building up the walls, and we're using tough and stone bricks and mossy stone bricks as well. But yeah, we are using World Edit again to try and make it a lot quicker. I am getting better at learning World Edit, it turns out. And then we go onto the roof, and the roof design juts out a little bit, so we can add a little design at the front and the back. But yeah, we're using tough brick stairs, just to give it some more texture on the roof, as well as andesite in the little front and back bit. And then what we do, we're just rearranging the front, and then we're going to put a design at the front, and I tried several different designs, and then we did that, ended up on that one. Then we go and do the roof and the interior, because we are going to do an interior in this build. We're not going to do an interior in all builds. And then we go in and place the coffin, is that what it's called, coffin bit, right at the front. And then before we do a lot of cobwebs around just to make it look really old and abandoned, and there is our crypt. So now part 3 will be go and build the church. Let's go to that, shall we? Part 3. So we start like last time, removing mangrove trees, because I placed way too many in the first part over the train. So we start by removing those. I finally remember commands exist to make it a lot easier. And then what we go and do is we try and connect it all into the terrain. I vastly underestimate the size I'm actually going to make this, because it doesn't quite fit, but I get it to work in the end. And so our church, we're starting building with white wool as walls, just to try and get a basic template and shape of it. So we go around making the front tower with just the standard image of a church you see online. If you ask a kid to draw a church, it's probably what they're going to draw. And then we go around replacing all the corners of the wall, at least, with the stone bricks, just to make it look a little bit more churchy. And then we do the wall. We start doing the walls. However, I actually go back and change all of these and actually undo them all because I want it to look a bit more run down. So we start putting in some walls into it as well. And I have to go around and connect all the walls into the pillars on the sides as well, because World Edit just places generic wall blocks. But then we go around. The front one isn't, because that's going to be a little bit different later. And then we go back into the roof. And we're just doing a spruce and dark oak generic church roof. It's not very fancy, this church design, however, it fits in with the overall aesthetic of the graveyard, and the fact that it looks old and decrepit helps the haunted feel slightly. And then we just go around and finishing the roofing of the main bulk of the church. However, the tower's going to look a bit slightly different again. So we go around, finish that up, connect it all, and then we go around with some dark oak stairs and we fill that in before we design the towers and copy and paste them all around. And then we go and put the walls on top, and then we go down and actually make a bell to the church, which can be seen, which is the main bit I actually wanted to include, was a bell. And then we finally go into doing the door, which is just a really big spruce door. And so that is our church done to accompany our crypt. I think they both look really suave together. So now we go on to part number 4. So we are starting on the fence line now. However, what we need to do first is actually expand the area of the swamp, because we need it to look more naturally incorporated. So now we're starting on the actual fence line all the way around. We do change this and actually connect it into the mountains area, as you can see, building it into the mangrove trees, just to make it look a bit more, I wouldn't say natural, but more incorporated into the build rather than it just plonks there. We're now making the gates at the front. We're actually going to have 2 gates into the graveyard, as you can see. We're using iron bars. And we're making our larger gate, which is the main entrance into the graveyard, as well as our smaller gate on the side, which will eventually lead to the pumpkin area, and maybe something in between. I don't know yet. We'll see what comes up in our next few wheel spins over the next few videos. But then we just finish up the fence around the edge, and that is the part done, which is a very, very, very quick part. It's only about a minute long. And yeah, so we have our fence line all put in. Now we move on to part, number 5? Part 5, where we go on and actually build the graves. Before we can actually do the graves in this part, we actually need to put a pathway linking up the crypt to the church, because I thought that would just look really quite cool, to be fair. And then we need to put a main pathway connecting up the 2 gates, which we do using a gravel and basalt pathway, which I just thought looked really quite cool. And then we connect that up to our muddy mangrove pathway, link them in together, and then I decided, you know what, look cool in that little spot, a little dead tree made of acacia, which generally does actually look quite cool. And then we design our gravestones. So I was faffing around with them in an earlier part, but these are the actual 2 gravestones we're actually going to have splattered all across the area. And so I get, as you can see, very close up there. And then what we go and do is we go and just splatter the tomby looking one all around. And then I decided it's going to look a bit weird if we just had those 2 gravestones. So then I decided all over the area. And then I decided to just put some swamp trees, swamp oak trees at least, all around the area. And then as you can see here, just going up, if you see my characters flying around all over the place, trying to just fix up all the oak wood, trying to connect to the actual floor. Which is why I'm just zooming around there, just checking. And then we go in and start pasting the gravestones all around. As you can see, just flying above, just pasting the designs around. And we get quite a few down, actually, in different rotations and everything, because we want it to look like it's overfull, it's a bit haunted, like there's stuff here that shouldn't really be here. And so we just keep placing and placing gravestones all the way around. And that is the gravestones all done. Well, other than me faffing around for a little bit longer, but then that is all the gravestones done. So, what do we move on to now? I think we move on to part 6. We're putting the final finishing touches on the build, and then what we can do is we can have a look at our showcase. So let's see the finishing touches and move on to our showcase. So our final finishing touches are being put in, and we're putting pumpkin patches around with a jack-o'-lantern in them to light up the area just a little bit, to make it look a little bit spookier at night, as well as going around the forest, as you can see, and just putting some torches in. You can't really see what I'm putting in, as well as doing some on the tree as well. And that is the final part. So now we move on to our showcase. Enjoy. And there we have it, guys. A beautiful graveyard build to accompany the pumpkin build in our 7-day Halloween challenge. And that is it for today's video. So if you did enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, leave a comment down below, and I will see you all in day 3 of our Halloween build, where we get to pick another build from the wheel. See you later, guys. Bye!